Là hindi column.
Maybe then I'll swap the other that.
Ito tayo po.
So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon or this evening. Some of you even a very early morning. It's a busy week for all of you, I guess, just like us, rushing to do things before the end of the year, and when you're not doing that, wrapping presents. But we're happy that you can spend this time with us. We think this is a kind of a more relaxed kind of session than you may have going on for the rest of the week. Hopefully it should be a bit more fun as well than a lot of things that are coming your way. I know that you've spent a lot of time online and everybody's going crazy and hating Zoom by this time of the year. So, but thanks once again for making the time. And welcome to the e-commerce story pitch, which is an idea that we've been working on with the team to give some space to actually telling these stories about e-commerce. We think it's important. Behind the initiative that we got going this year, the Ecom Connect platform, and for which we have a lot of ambition, is to build the exchange between entrepreneurs, learning from one another, really sharing what works, how it's worked for you, and how others can benefit from that. Now, that's not so easy to get going because people are don't necessarily make that a normal part of their day to come and tell one another the lessons that they've had. But nevertheless, we know there's some great stories out there. So we wanted to try and encourage you. So we set up this competition and we solicited entries from you. And today we present you the finalists, which you'll see. But first, and before we come to Chris Folium, who's a friend of ours and an inspiring speaker, I just want to say a few opening words about where we are. And, you know, perhaps we can remind ourselves that there's an old proverb which says, "May you live in interesting times." And it's almost like it's been used as a curse, because of course this year has been very interesting in some ways, and it's certainly brought suffering as the pandemic has touched the lives and livelihoods of people around the world. And I'm sure the public health consequences and the economic consequences are still to be fully appreciated, even if we're beginning to see some of the way through. But this session is not about the pandemic. We don't want to make it about that. Instead, we want to have a moment to celebrate the ingenuity and the commitment of small entrepreneurs, especially those from developing and least developed countries. You know, there's been a growing evidence, we see more of it, and I think a lot of you would agree with us, that e-commerce itself has become much more important in recent times. So this is a truth that people keep on repeating. And indeed, I'm sure some of the entrepreneurs today can give us a few insights in why that is now finally coming true, what we've spent the last few years trying to raise awareness on. That e-commerce is an opportunity, it's important for small businesses. And we know it's getting attraction and interest, certainly of governments around the world who want to know what more they can do. And this is how ITC, we've been involved for the last few years, trying to structure that understanding, trying to reach out, trying to learn those lessons. So things are really getting going now and speeding up, which is good. This is why we launched the Ecom Connect platform, and you know, we've achieved you know, a lot of success this year, and we're looking forward to growing that, increasing the number of events, increasing the participation next year and over the next few years. So today's story pitch contest is all about sharing the lessons. We got a great reaction from you. It's not always easy to ask people to do work, extra work, as well as being an entrepreneur. And we had well over 50 good quality applications, which we enjoyed reading. And our job was not easy in just picking 3. We didn't want to make this event too long, so we limited ourselves to 3. And we believe, you know, the 3 that we've picked have some interesting insights. We picked them on the basis, although there were many fine examples of interesting businesses we've got going, we think what we've selected for you is where there are some lessons, which is the spirit of what we want to do. There's been some learning, and there's also been some innovation happening in the examples. So they're also in a context where it's not so easy to do business as it is for many of you, where there are real barriers to being successful as an e-commerce entrepreneur. And we have 3 finalists, 1 from Myanmar and 2 from Africa, so from Ghana and Kenya. We got applications a bit from around the world, but these are the 3 that we present you, and we'll introduce them to you in a few moments. But what we want you to do as members of the audience is to listen. Of course, that's your job. That should be easy. I know you're all tired, we're tired, but your job for a few minutes is to listen. And each participant will get just 5 minutes. It's not a lot of time. As entrepreneurs, I'm sure you like talking about yourself and your business, so 5 minutes is really not a lot. And we've asked them to really focus in that time, after making a brief introduction, what the lessons are and what the innovation is. So I'm sure they would like to speak for an hour to you about that business, but they've only got 5 minutes. And then we've got 5 minutes for questions for each. And we're going to keep that simple as well. Me and the team will pose 1 question, and then we'll see if there's some interesting questions from you, from the floor, and we'll pick 1 of those, okay? So it's a very simple format, 5 minutes to present, and then probably a couple of questions. So we have to be fairly tight with the timing. So it's 5 minutes of talk, 5 minutes of questions. So as I say, you listen carefully, and the questions you should have in mind are, what did you learn from each story? And what does each story say about innovation in e-commerce? So I'll let you think about that. What did you learn? What is innovation? So get yourself in this mood. But before you do, I wanted to introduce our special guest, who I think is still early in the morning, isn't it, for Chris? Are you still in LA? I've not caught up with you.
Yes, I still am.
Still in Melbourne. Okay. So Chris spoke with us earlier on in the year, and I'll say a couple of words of introduction. Chris is CEO of Link Commerce, a company that the DHL bought into earlier on this year. That was a major announcement. And also CEO of Mal for Africa, which facilitates e-commerce for Africans. And he's also chairman of the board of the e-commerce forum Africa. But I'll let Chris make a better introduction and give you some insights to his background and the secrets of success in e-commerce as he sees them. Thanks.
Thanks, James. And thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. As James has mentioned, I only have a very short period of time, so I will be going through this rapidly. So again, my name is Chris Folai. I'm founder and CEO of Mall for Africa and Link Commerce. Mall for Africa helps US and UK retailers sell into Africa. Now, I'll just tell you a little bit about the journey because I'm an entrepreneur too. I've exited several companies I've started. My brain, just like yours, is always thinking and trying to figure out what's the next big idea. So the way Mall for Africa started is I kept traveling. I'm from Nigeria, born and raised in Nigeria, kept traveling back home. And if you guys have traveled to the States or traveled anywhere, you know, your friends and families are always saying, hey, can you buy this for me? Can you buy that for me? And then before you know it, your luggage is filled with everything for other people and nothing for yourself. So that's what happened with Mall for Africa. I ended up going to the airport, 10 suitcases, guys, no joke, 10 suitcases, tried boarding a Delta flight from San Francisco to Atlanta to Lagos. The lady at the Delta counter looked at me, she shook her head. She said, Nigeria, right? I'm like, come on, how do you know? Yes, Nigeria. And she said, you're not boarding this plane with all those 10 suitcases. I said, why? I'll pay for each of them. And she said, not gonna happen. I couldn't go to Nigeria that day because I did not know where my stuff was, because 10 suitcases, I think I had stuff, some stuff here, some stuff there. Ended up canceling my flight, you know, and then on the drive back home, I said, you know what, this is crazy. I'm gonna figure out a way to get people in Nigeria to buy products on the platform I develop and, you know, go from there. That's how Mall for Africa actually started. You could see it was an idea that came from a problem of me not being able to board a Delta flight to go to Nigeria. And lo and behold, this company has now grown to be huge, you know. That's what entrepreneurs are. That's what you are. That's what I am. We are big thinkers, we are risk takers, and we are dreamers. And I want to applaud all of you for being those things. Being a dreamer and a big thinker is something that's huge. And you have that talent. You've taken that journey. You've boarded that plane. You've said, I'm going for it. I'm going to start my own company. And that is scary. And it's also appealing, and it's intriguing, and it's interesting. And you should be proud that that's the kind of person you are. There are not that many entrepreneurs, but you're an entrepreneur and you're doing it. But as you do this, you're going to face challenges, some good challenges, some bad challenges. And there are, you know, those middle grounds. But I've taken that journey several times, and in the course, I found that, you know, you really have to be tenacious and always stick at your idea. If you know your idea is really good, you pose it to your user base and your customer base, and you see that the market needs it, go for it, you know, hit it hard, learn from people, learn from others, learn from your customer base. We at Mall for Africa, we learn from our customers what's needed, what modifications do we need to make, what user interface and user experiences do we need to modify to improve ourselves. We've done that, and we keep on doing that. So just make sure you keep on listening to your customers as you grow and as things change. That's very important. And be an expert in your industry. I found that to also be super important. and it helps you through these trying times. Right now, 2020 has been a year of craziness. I don't know anybody who will say anything different, but it's been crazy. We've seen challenging times at my company. We've had to pivot a little bit and do some stuff a little bit different in order to stay relevant and in order to help people that we can. So be ready to, change your path a little bit depending on what's happening in the world and changes that are happening in the world. But be ready for that. One of the things I want to share with you is really an experience, and for you guys to understand also that you're never too big or too small to do big things. One of the challenges we had, James had mentioned, James actually stole my thunder about something, but you could read it online about DHL and relationship with us. But many people do not know the story. And I want to just share that story with you guys very quickly, because it's something I think every one of us can learn from. DHL and us did not just partner, accidentally. I was looking for the best shipping company because, we ship from US and UK to Africa. I was looking for the best shipping company in Africa. And in order to find the best shipping company in Africa, did some tests. DHL had the best footprint in Africa for us to do what we needed to do. They get items from almost anywhere in the world to your doorstep in just a few days. So I needed to lock DHL in place for us. I had contacts at DHL, and one day I was talking to someone. I said, look, I really need to get a hold of everybody at DHL, really your CEO, because I want to talk to the CEO and let him know who we are. And, that didn't go anywhere. I ended up finding out from someone that DHL was having this huge, huge meeting in Dubai where they were bringing everybody together. All the CEOs, DHL has CEOs for regions, all the vice presidents, top employees, the board was coming. And I was like, oh, so they're having this big, party to celebrate some milestones in Dubai. And I was like, oh, that's cool. When is it happening? It's happening in 2 weeks. And the person that was talking to me could tell I was asking way too many questions. He said, Chris, it's for employees only. So I don't know what's happening in your crazy mind, but it's for employees only. You're not invited. It's like, chill, dude. I get it. I'm just asking questions. I'm trying to meet you guys, but asking questions. Everybody's going to be in Dubai. I was like, okay, when is this happening? Because, I want to know if I can send you emails and I'll get responses. So he gives me the dates. So I get the date range. It's going to happen from this date to this date. And I said, okay, cool. Thank you. Didn't talk to him anymore because I was like, oh, you're busy. It was 2 weeks. Within those 2 weeks, I came up with a game plan. And I think you guys will understand where this is going. My game plan was I need to close a deal with DHL in Dubai in 2 weeks. And that was my game plan. How was I going to do it? Started thinking really, really, really quickly outside the box. I ended up devising, like a James Bond type thought in my brain. What was I going to do? At the end of the day, this is what I did. I created this book, and very few people have seen this outside DHL. In fact, I think this is the second time I'm showing this publicly. This is what I ended up creating. It says DHL, More for Africa, DHL e-commerce attack plan. In it, it's a booklet. There's several pages in here talking about the attack plan for DHL e-commerce in Africa. I ended up standing in the entryway of where, you show your badge to walk into the big room for any of these major conferences. I didn't have a badge. I'm not an employee. I stood at the entryway. I told the people who were checking badges, oh, I'm here just giving out flyers. Oh, they're like, oh yeah, no problem, no problem. It has the DHL logo on it, the DHL colors. Nobody questioned me. I said, I'm just here to give out flyers. I gave out about 750 of these. I made 1,000. It was all that was in my luggage when I was going to Dubai. I made 1,000, gave out 750. I ended up giving this to the CEO of every single DHL office. And I gave this to the board of directors of everybody at DHL. And the list goes on and on and on. To cut the long story short, I ended up having a meeting with the CEO. He ended up introducing me to all the other CEOs. And there was a very quick impromptu board meeting that was not scheduled that they had because this guy from Nigeria was giving out this attack plan for DHL and their e-commerce attack plan, giving it to everybody. And everybody was asking, what the heck is this? This is an interesting attack plan. We need to talk. Ended up having a board meeting with the CEO and the entire board of DHL. And lo and behold, we came up with a deal. That day, we shook hands and we decided we are actually going to do business together. And as James has mentioned, move forward the story or push forward in the story, DHL now is an investor in my company. I've told that story just to let you guys know that no matter the situation, no matter how hard things may seem, the hills may be too high to climb, you are an entrepreneur, you think outside the box, you can actually do it, and you can learn from thinking outside the box and strategizing in order to meet the people you need to close deals, and in order to do what you need to do to get things done, because that's who you are. So take a lesson from my book on how to become an entrepreneur and what you need to do. Just, just really think outside the box and always try your best to persevere. Now you will face challenges. I tried to talk before I got DHL to invest in my company. I had knocked on doors for investors because, like many of you, I started my company bootstrap by myself. You know, I talked to you about the 10 suitcases. People were paying me for those products. And then, you know, my living room got too big, the kitchen and the living room, the garage, and then it got bigger and bigger. I ended up needing investors. Investors, I had the same problem. The investors kept saying, no, 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 you know. It's not easy when you're from a third world country or from Nigeria, to be very frank, trying to meet with these investors, asking them for money about an idea that they've never heard of. So you will get no's. I stopped counting how many no's I got because it got depressing. But with every pitch you give, with every no you get, you end up getting more motivated, and do not let it deflate you. I got no's from amazing people, smart people. A few of them were even from Africa, and they still told me no. So when it comes to talking to investors, the lesson I can also give you guys is just keep on pushing on. You are the experts, not them. And some people get that mixed up. Your investor is not the expert, you are. So you are the expert when you walk into the room to give that pitch to them, and as you give pitches, come in with confidence, knowing you actually know more than them. So you're the teacher, you're there to educate them, and they're there to listen to you. And you just need to be on your A game and show that you are the expert and they're the students. And the student needs to listen to the expert. Don't be too arrogant about it, but the student needs to listen to the expert, show them how good you are, and eventually somebody will invest in you, and you know your company will become as big as you can dream it to be. So I know there's not that much time. I hope this helps. You know, put some kind of inspiration in you to do better, become bigger and better than you could ever imagine, and know that no matter what, you know, doors may close, another door will open. You just have to think outside the box. And again, you are an entrepreneur, and that means you are feisty, you think outside the box, you're okay with people saying no, and you always have plan A to Z. And then after doing A to Z, you then go A1, B1, C1, you know, go through the alphabet, go through all the numbers. Eventually it would work out, but just make sure you're doing something that's good, and make sure you're doing something that the market wants, and you will succeed. And that's it. I hope that helps you, and congratulations to the finalists and to all of you guys for being entrepreneurs. It's such a wonderful thing.
Chris, that's really super. Thank you for these words. It's an inspiring story, and we'll be telling it to one another. So that's really great. But without further ado, I'd like to hand over to a member of my team, Judith, who will explain the different finalists this afternoon. Thanks, Chris, once again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. And also from my side, thanks a lot, Chris, for this inspiring speech. It's always great to listen to entrepreneurs and learn. I don't want to lose much time, and I want to hand over to our first finalist, Dorothy. But before giving her the floor, I would like to briefly introduce her. So Dorothy founded her business in 2017 as a young engineer, and she had a central idea. She wanted to bring affordable and good quality IKEA furniture to Myanmar. So she had this idea, and that was always her vision, her mission, and she made it. And nowadays, she managed to supply furniture to more than 3,000 homes in Myanmar, actually. So yeah, Dorothy, it's quite exciting, your story. You're very active on social media. You have a great social selling experience. So tell us more, and we're keen to listen to your story and to learn from you.
Thanks, Judith, for your introduction. Let me share my screen. Mingalaba. Hello, everyone. Warm greetings from Yangon. I'm grateful to be here virtually to share with you the e-commerce journey of Myanmar, a small dot in digital economy, as well as the experiences I learned throughout this journey. Allow me to ask a question. How much do you think you need to start a business in Myanmar? Yes, it depends whether it's formal or informal, big or small. But from my experience, here's the figure. I started Myanmar 3 years ago with $3,000. But during Myanmar's years of economic isolation, the cost was higher because even the price of the SIM card could reach $3,000. Today, it's only $1. Myanmar started gradually to open up in 2015. By 2016, 22% of the population had internet access. And by January 2020, 40% of the population were active social media, Facebook users. Facebook is deemed as Myanmar version of Google. Many small businesses here, either registered or not registered, use Facebook to do and sustain their businesses. Consumers often use Facebook to identify the existence and reputation of a business. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many businesses could survive by relying their sales on Facebook because of physical movement restrictions. Myanmar is an example of business that is benefit from social commerce. This figure shows how social commerce, Facebook, helps our small businesses before and during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we also encounter some issues selling through Facebook platform. It requires a standby human assistance nearly 24/7 for replying customers' inquiries, addressing their comments, and presenting the products. It's labor-intensive and time-consuming. A dedicated e-commerce platform could be a solution to those issues. But after we soft-launched Myanmar Mall in 2020 November, we also encountered some unexpected issues. First, the customer's habit. As the majority of the internet users in Myanmar are Facebook users, they prefer to purchase via the platform they are familiar with, which is Facebook or Messenger, rather than the website. Secondly, the language barrier. Many customers find difficulty to sign up or search the products in English. Thirdly, human-to-human interaction. Customers prefer to place order when there is someone assisting them, as in Facebook Messenger or in physical store. Last but not least, a preference to cash on delivery system. Every online sales in Myanmar needs to have a payment option of cash on delivery. It's either because the customers do not use online banking or they do not want to transfer before they receive the products. Despite of those issues we face, we still believe in the huge potential of e-commerce. I also come up with some ways to address the issues faced by Myanmar Mall. First, step-by-step user-friendly manual written in English and Myanmar on how to use the website. Second, we will still continue offering exclusive rewards and discounts to customers using the website. Third, developing a mobile e-commerce application, as most of the people in Myanmar are mobile phone users and find using the website more complex than the apps. And finally, we will add image search feature on our website so the customers can easily search the product by attaching the photo. This will address the language barrier problem. Our physical store is relatively small compared to other furniture stores in town. Some customers have a tendency to look at the size of the store first. And when they found out our tiny little shop, they just left. E-commerce and social commerce help us to show that the size of our physical store does not represent our ability and capability to supply the customer's demands with the best possible services. Finally, the journey of Myanmar represents the story of a girl born and raised in Myanmar with very little resources, yet still able to pursue entrepreneurship with the help of e-commerce and social commerce. My vision is that Myanmar Mall, a small dot in digital economy, could be a platform for local SMEs, especially women-led businesses with very minimum capital to trade and innovate and reach globally. Thank you for your time and attention. Jesu Damari.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Dorothy. Very insightful. Only 5 minutes. We know it's difficult, but you made it. It was 5 minutes and no more minute. Right now we have 5 minutes for question. So I would like to ask a question, and then please, for all the participants, feel free to post your question in the chat, and then I will pick one of the questions. If you don't have any, I will post several ones. So let me start with my first question, Dorothy. I think there are many entrepreneurs, probably even here in this call, that started off with a Facebook page. And you had your Facebook page for, I think, 3 years before you actually decided to move to a proper e-commerce platform, right? So I wanted to know a bit more about your lessons learned in relation to moving from the Facebook page to your actual e-commerce site. What is the process, and what are the financial and human resources required? And are there any mistakes you made that would help our audience probably to do it better or differently when they take this decision?
Actually, developing e-commerce platform for a small company, it needs a lot of, it only costs $4,000 around, but for us it's quite a lot. Also in Myanmar, the labor cost is not very high. The average labor cost is 200 to 300. But if you develop e-commerce platform, it costs 4,000. So it is 10 times, or you can employ a staff for 10 months with that cost. But the thing is that when we have more demand on Facebook, we have to employ more staffs to reply the customers and assist them. And it makes me realize that, oh, it is time to develop an e-commerce so that the customers can buy by themselves without the need of us. And that's why I push myself to, oh my God, just finally do it. Don't consider about the cost. And then, yeah, I did it. And I got the help from also the female entrepreneur who is developing this Myanmar website called Emily. She is also a very young entrepreneur, and I wanted to support her as well. So I chose a freelance group rather than a big company who can develop e-commerce, because price-wise, it is also efficient, and also I want to support women as well. That's why I, finally did that. Thank you.
Great. We have some questions in the chat. So I think the last one is quite interesting, is related to logistics. So you are actually selling IKEA furniture on your shop. So maybe tell us a bit more about your managed deliveries. So where do you get the furniture from, and how do you deliver within Myanmar?
Yes, IKEA has their stores in our neighbor countries, which is Thailand and China. But for us, it's the easiest to deliver by land rather than by sea. So Thailand is our first priority. And then I went to Thailand IKEA stores, and I found they are pretty big, and one of the biggest stores in Asia as well. So, but actually IKEA, they just only deliver around the town, which is Bangkok. They don't deliver to the border. So I have to find some sources to deliver to the border, and then some local logistics company to do the delivery to my doorstep. At first, actually, I am just an engineer. I don't know anything about logistics or importing or whatever, but also I made a lot of mistakes as well. And for the first 2 years, I didn't make any profit. Literally, yes. And it is only because the cost of logistics. I didn't know how to cut down the cost of the logistics. What my intention is that I just want to continue this business, whether it is making loss or whatever. But after that, I learned a lot about logistics and how to cut down some prices, and which are the companies that are really doing the good service and making, actually in logistics, the best thing is you cut the time and the cost. Also, we have a lot of competitors in Myanmar as well who are importing the same furniture, even with the lower price. And then I was realizing, if they can do like that, I must also do. So I was finding the solutions. So yes, I learned that one thing, that in logistics, you have to cut the time and also the cost, and then you are able to make a proper business and in very competitive way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. So we have many more questions, but unfortunately we don't have time. We have to pass on to the next entrepreneur. But I would like to remind all of you that Dorothy will be available for questions on Ecom Connect. So please, for those that haven't created an account yet, just log onto the platform, and we have a private chat functionality where you can reach out directly to Dorothy and ask all your questions. And now I will hand over to my colleague Christina to introduce the second finalist.
Hi everyone, and thanks Dorothy for this great page. Really, really insightful. Now let's move on to the second page. So right now it will be delivered by Adam, who is the founder and manager of Booksy, an online bookshop and book club in Ghana. Through this e-commerce business, Adam is offering like high quality African books. And she also has a club that aims at helping children fall in love with books. Welcome, Adam. We are looking forward to hear about your story, about your practical e-commerce tips, and also about how you understood what your customers wanted and all the techniques you have used to improve your online presence. Remember that you have 5 minutes to deliver your pitch, and to all of you, you can pose questions on the chat and we'll pick some for later. Good luck, Adam.
Thank you very much, Christina. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Adam Tokonu. I'm from Ghana, and I'm the creator of Booksy. And today I'm going to share Booksy's e-commerce story. Booksy is a Pan-African children's book subscription service, online bookshop and book club for 3 to 12-year-olds. And we exist to just make African children's books easily accessible help children learn to read and to fall in love with books. I'm excited to share today that in spite of COVID-19, this year we've seen Booksy continuously grow and thrive as the go-to channel for accessing children's books, and in particular African children's books. So we've noticed that over the last few months, people are coming to us just because they're looking for books for their children, and then they get even more excited when they realize that it is African books. We've seen more than 50% growth in the book purchasing customers, and also seen about a 67% growth in our book club community. And this is because we've moved all our book club activities online. And so we are able to meet people who are not in our home city, Accra, and who are also outside the country. And so these, I want to just share a few of the lessons that we have learned as we built Booksy over 2 years. First one, and I'd love to hear if Chris would agree with me, but my first major learning has been that Africans still have major trust issues when it comes to buying things online. And so I have customers who are comfortable with buying things on Amazon or eBay or UK, US based websites, but when they are going to buy on a website that is based in Africa, they're a bit reluctant because you're not sure about using their credit card or their debit cards on these websites. And so for Booksy, what we've done is given people the option to buy through WhatsApp or to buy through social media. In the beginning, we were very strict, go to the website, but then we realized we were losing customers by doing that. Second thing is our ultimate goal is to make money. So yes, our vision is to make African children's books easily accessible, but we cannot do this without making money. And so when we realized people don't like shopping online, we, like I mentioned before, we gave them the option of ordering on WhatsApp or Instagram. And with this, we say to people, if you don't want to order on the website, you go there, look at the books that are there, take a screenshot of what you want, and then bring that to to WhatsApp or Instagram if that's how you reached out to us, and we will process the order for you. Or you can share your budget and we will select books for you based on your budget and what your children are interested in. Third lesson is pay close attention to customer behavior. And this is one thing that Chris mentioned when he was speaking. So when Booksy actually started out as a subscription service, which means that when you are signing up, you give us your parameters, which is like the age of your child and how often you want to get books. But we realized from the beginning that people had too many questions around how the subscription went. And then they were asking, I'm buying a 9-month subscription. Can I get all the books for the 9 months in one shipment instead of over the 9 months? Or can I know the books that are there? So we realized people want control over what they are purchasing and how they are how often they want to purchase it. And so that's how the online bookshop was born. But we still have the subscription available for anybody who wants that service. Next lesson, Ghanaians and by extensions, Africans are very price sensitive. So we have customers not just in Ghana, we have customers all over the continent, and Africans living in the diaspora, and even non-Africans as well. But our African customers, unless it's a high-end good and it's like a luxury good that they know it's going to be expensive, they are sensitive about it. So you need to make sure that you're pricing in a way that's not too high that it turns people away and not too low that you are not making a profit. And so we are still figuring our pricing out. Also, another lesson that I'd like to share is that WhatsApp is a fantastic e-commerce tool here because people are always on WhatsApp. It's very fast for customer service. So we changed our the chat section of our website to the WhatsApp API, so that when people start chatting with us, it comes into WhatsApp and they're able to continue the conversation if it falls off, rather than through another chat service. And it makes you more approachable. It gives you good time to respond to people. And then the last major lesson I would like to share with you today is that logistics is basically the bedrock of an e-commerce business. And Chris and Dorothy have already mentioned this. How you manage inventory so that you do not run out of products falls under logistics. How you automate while personalizing as much of your communication with people as possible falls under your logistics, how to stay in communication with customers from the time they order till they receive their product so that they don't feel like you've left them hanging, and then how you get your products to them in a seamless and very painless manner. And I want to emphasize the word painless because that process can be a bit painful. So just figuring that out can take some time, but if you get that, you are on the right path for your e-commerce business. So these are the lessons I wanted to share today. Thank you for your time, and I will welcome any questions.
Thanks so much, Adam, for this great pitch. I love this slide where you explain really well all the e-commerce learning from your experience. That's great. While we gather some questions from the audience, I would like to ask you a question related to I think it's the third point in this slide. So you highlighted that business owners should pay close attention to customer behavior. That's crucial to understand demand. But could you develop this a bit more? Like how in your case, you go and you understand what the customer wants, and how do you show you are different? How do you show what your value added is so that in the end customers buy from you and not from, let's say, Amazon or eBay?
Okay, so first of all, how we pay close attention to customer behavior. So when I was speaking, one of the things I mentioned was that Booksy first did not start out with an online bookshop. We actually started with a subscription service. And so when you came to the website and tried to get a subscription, you would first put your children's age group and then would pick if you wanted to get books over a certain, maybe 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. But we realized that people were, even with with that, the books you were going to receive were going to come as a surprise because you would not know what you would receive. But people kept on asking, I want to know the books you are going to send to me. I want to know the books you are going to send to me. And also, I want all my books at once instead over the 9-month period that I have paid for. And so that showed us that there was a need for something like a online bookshop. And so we opened the online bookshop after the subscription service, and we've seen for now we've seen more purchases through that than subscription because people want more control over what they buy in terms of books. Your second, please repeat your second question again. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a bit linked to how to understand the customer behavior and how you make them choose you in the end.
Yes, so they choose us, or I believe they choose us is because we are users of our product. So our book club uses the books that we sell. We use them for teaching children to read. We use them for our book club activities. And so we are users of what we know. And so we understand if a parent comes and says, my child is 1 or it's like 3, 4, 5, we know what book would be good for them. We know what they would enjoy if they share their children's interests. We know what book fits their child. And so because we are users of our products, we understand. And so they are rest assured that they are going to get good, high quality products from us.
Okay, great, Adam. That's great. So let me see if we have some questions from the audience. Yes, so we have a question in terms of communication. So imagine that WhatsApp is not working or you have an issue with WhatsApp. What's the alternative plan to communicate with customers? Do you also use, for instance, email marketing campaigns?
Yes, so we communicate with people, WhatsApp, email, phone calls. I can give you an example from yesterday. Somebody got something. I had been communicating with that person to get their order to them through WhatsApp. And then when it got to the time for the courier service to give it to the person was missing. Tried phone calls, tried WhatsApp, ended up getting the person via email. And so when somebody is buying from us, they may come to us through one channel, but we make sure we get their contact details for as many channels as possible so that when it's time to communicate with them, if one channel is not working, we just move on to the next channel.
Perfect. Always ready, just in case. So thanks a lot, Adam. And now we are going to move on with the last finalist. So I hand over to James to introduce Teresa.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dorothy. Thanks, Chris. So I would like to introduce you the third and final speaker from Shop Nanjala. Now, Shop Nanjala is a one-stop e-commerce solution for home design, custom gift items, and potted plants, all sourced and made in Kenya. So Teresa is the creative mind behind Shop Nanjala, and she's joined hands with small-scale artisans across Kenya to produce and deliver high-quality home gifts, I should say, for men and women, and presumably children as well, Teresa. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, over to you. Please tell us about Shop Nanjala, Teresa.
Thank you, James. Everyone has had a wonderful presentation. It's tough going last, but I'll try. Allow me to share my screen. So yeah, thank you very much. I'll talk about my story of Shop Nanjala. Now, just a little, my screen. So just a little expansion on what Shop Nanjala is. We're an online shop for gardening, gifting, and home decor. And what we do is we collaborate and co-create to offer environmentally conscious products that support local Kenyan artisans. Now, these artisans in Kenya are called Jua Kali. And literally, they are in the informal sector. You normally see them on the roadside. They're banging away in the hot sun. And that's where the name Jua Kali means, which means hot sun. So these are the people that I work with. Here are some of the products. We offer over 150 products on our platform, from potted plants to gardening accessories and home decor. Now, just a little story about myself and how I started Shop Nanjala. They were humble beginnings. It started out 5 years ago in my backyard. And I remember my sister coming to see succulents on my backyard. And she's like, she'd love one. So what I did is I potted one for her and she carried it away as a gift. And anyone who came to visit would always carry a potted plant. So as I worked with the artisans who made the pots, I realized they had a problem getting market for their wares. So as a designer, I said, you know what? How do I support them? So using my creativity, I actually decided to work with them. They make the beautiful, unique handmade products. I help them be seen. And that's how Shop Nanjala was born. We actually launched our fully fledged e-commerce platform in 2015 with tears and blood and sweat, literally. So our aim is actually to collaborate with them and support them, take their wares to market in a professional and very gainful manner, and see them flourish. Now, my screen is not moving. So, sorry. So just a little bit about our customer base. We have a large community of shoppers, primarily from the major cities, which is Nairobi and Mombasa. We also have traction recently. This year, primarily, we've been having a lot of traction from the diaspora and the expatriate community. We only ship within Kenya because of logistics problems. It's very hard to ship out plants, and I think you know there are certain certifications that are required. Here are some of our artisans, true craftsmanship from them, because we actually vet them, and they deliver high quality products, which we now then curate and showcase on our website. As you can see, there's a concrete sculptor there, and there's Steven, who's a ceramist. These are just one of the many artisans that we have. Now, just to get into sort of the success stories and the learnings, I've shared with you real dashboards of how we've been performing. On the left, we have a year to date, where you can see we have gotten good numbers. We've sold over 400 items, and that is really a good thing, because most of the time we were selling offline. Someone would DM us on Instagram, or someone would send us a WhatsApp and actually pay offline. However, the dashboard here shows all the online all the online conversion that has been done. Now, what is curious is, despite the fact that we've been in a pandemic and the economy has been affected, we've noticed that there's been traction on our e-commerce website. So on the right, if you see the comparative between May 2019 and May 2020, we see there's been an uptake of a record uptake of 514%, meaning we actually got a revenue we never saw in the May of the last year. We did 0 sales online. We did some offline sales, but we made we sold like 13 items this year, and you can see the numbers there. And I think the idea here, and just the learning that was really clear, was one, as people are home, they're now trying out digital platforms, they're now trusting platforms, and they're trying to make it convenient for products to get to them. So, and we're also seeing people looking at their homes now that they live in them, they want to beautify them by buying indoor plants, as well as now cook. So we're seeing a lot of people buying herbs. Now, other learnings that I won't get into because of time is, it is not easy. The first 4 years were tough. We were selling offline. However, we did a lot of brand building. People loved our beautiful brand, which was crafted beautifully, and slowly people start trusting you, and we've started now seeing real conversions. The other thing is, we see an emerging trend, which is quite interesting, and I think this is now growing in urban Kenya, where Planned Parenthood, the idea of owning aesthetically pleasing items that are environmentally conscious, such as potted plants, is becoming really big, as well as buying local. People are shopping local, and we're happy to say that Shop Nanjala is a Made in Kenya affiliate, and really we're also doing good for society by having these local artisans put food on their table. The other thing is that social media is a powerful tool for creating sales, and we'll tell you without a doubt, without Instagram, we would not be seeing any sales. Like, we feel Instagram is the single most important social media platform here for us. And we've been curating our brand and our products there. And once people see, they're able to then go to the website and actually do the transaction. So that's something that is really important. The other thing is, I think I did heavy investment, just to echo what Dorothy said. It's extremely expensive to set up an e-commerce shop. We took, we actually had to get the right developer, the right payments gateway partner who's Pesapal, the right logistics who can integrate on our backend, who's Sendy, who are doing all our logistics that are tracked, as well as we have a great customer care service who follows up with the client at the very end when they do the delivery. And then just to mention, a great success for last year is we got 2 awards at the e-commerce awards. And finally, we believe we're doing something great. I think the digital economy is here, and we're seeing ourselves being in the forefront of doing transformative work, which is essentially job creation. And we're giving these Juakali artisans incomes that they may not necessarily have, because no one is walking on the streets. So ultimately, onboarding them on our platform is doing good. And we see ourselves actually onboarding over 1,000 of these artisans, making unique products by 2020. Finally, I'll finish. In terms of innovation, we believe we have a model, a unique business model, where we see the designer as an intermediary between the market and the market's needs and the artisan, who needs to understand what the audience, what their customers want. So we have an interesting model which we call design-led and digitally enabled, where we actually ensure that once the artisan's product leaves their workshop, the logistics is handled all the way to Shop Nanjala, which happens to be my home, and then it's packaged beautifully right to the doorstep of the customer. Finally, in this country, M-Pesa cannot be understated as a fantastic payment currency. It literally works offline. Everyone is familiar with it. However, even online, 99% of our transactions are done seamlessly off M-Pesa. And what we can say is that without M-Pesa, I don't think people would be doing credit card transactions. We do provide credit card transactions, but 99%, as you can see, is quite significant, is done via M-Pesa. Finally, I'll mention that We have a beautiful CMS. They're cheap, they're easy to find. We use WooCommerce, and what it does, it has plugins where you can, you know, easily use the platform. It manages our inventory. It can integrate widgets. We currently can switch currencies between shillings and dollars. We're integrating Bitcoin. So I think for us, the CMS platform is also equally as important. And what we love about it is that it has inbuilt analytics that at a glance, you're able to capture data. Finally, and last but not least, we hope and pray that as we actually help our artisans, we're doing good. And we do this by ensuring we're designing better products from this part of the world, as well as introducing new products to our market, because our customers demand the best and quality products. Thank you very much. I hope you know, you enjoyed our presentation. We really, really appreciate being part of this competition. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Yep. So yeah, we're running a little late. So once you ask a couple of questions, I can ask. You know, you showed us how sales have spiked in COVID times, and obviously nobody knew about this. This has been, as Chris Folian said at the beginning, crazier. But assuming you'd known this was going to happen, what would you have done, do you think, in preparation for this? What would you have done, assuming you'd known and could prepare for such a thing? So that was really about the lessons of COVID and how to capture that. What do you think could have been different if you'd known at the beginning of the year?
I'm aware. My name is Annie Anike.
Sorry, can I respond to your question, Jane?
I do. You should be familiar with it.
Sorry, I'm hearing someone asking
it's
another.
Okay, somebody had mistakenly put their microphone on. Carry on.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't know what I've done better, but perhaps sort of put a lot of effort into marketing. I think the idea would be to sort of try and put as much communication out on social media, just to say this is now, you know, a quick way to get products. For example, like if it's herbs, here's a quick way to do it. I think for me, I think digital adoption would be something perhaps I'd also try and educate people on how to do it, perhaps a quick how to go onto the platform, how to shop. But I think the problem here is always related to financing. So we have challenges with, you know, just making a video is so expensive, you just don't want to consider it. So I think for me, it would be ramping up my marketing, because then I'd be in people's faces more often, and perhaps start competing with the big boys like Jumia, but I don't have the muscle to do that. And I think also doing a lot of education, like, because there's a challenge with, I think people still are used to walking to a supermarket or feeling and touching products. So I think for me, it would be perhaps showing them how to transact on on an e-commerce platform. So the steps to take to actually on my website.
Thanks. So I have a question from the audience, specifically about Instagram, because you mentioned it. It's interesting. Somebody said, you know, what Dorothy said, WhatsApp was the key thing, and you're saying Instagram. So there's a question about that. About is it mostly organic, or have you tried doing paid promotion on Instagram?
That's a good question, and I love that question. So the thing is, we don't have a physical presence. So I operate in my house. So and the model is the fulfillment center is the artisan's workshop. So what we do is we ensure we actually take beautiful products. So once we've done the prototype, once we love the products, we actually engage a professional photographer to take all our photographs, and then we would create stories. We'd actually curate them on Instagram. So when people see the products, they imagine them in their homes, and that really is where people actually, you know, so they're like, we want that, how much? You know, they're DMing you. Then you send them the link to the website. You're like, here's a link, and you can transact online. So I think the catching is happening on social media, but you're hyperlinking it to your website to create that conversion. Before, when people weren't used to e-commerce, they'd actually just say, no, Teresa, I'm gonna just pay you an M-Pesa, send us a number, we'll M-Pesa you. It was always offline. But now we're seeing people actually being brave enough trusting enough the platform because they've been seeing Shop Nanjala for far too many years. And now they're actually being brave to click that button, go onto the website, choose what they want, add it to cart, and then, you know, transact by M-Pesa, but on the platform. So yeah, so it's curation, beautiful curation. That's
okay,
it.
right. I think there we're at time. So thanks everybody. Thanks Teresa, and thanks for the speakers. So now we come to, well, the even more exciting bit, which is to decide a winner. Now, obviously, we said to you, we hope that you've been listening, that you followed Dorothy's presentation about her platform experiences in moving from social media to developing a platform and working with developers, and the opportunity that she's seen for cross-border business and logistics in Myanmar. You heard Edem's business about starting with a book club and how that's migrated by listening to customers into a book store and the lessons that she's had with that. And finally, you heard from Teresa about working with artists for a few years before using an online CMS and the importance of doing promotion to get it going. So those are the three, just a little bit of reminder what we had. And now we'll move into a voting because it's you that's going to decide the winner. So I'll hand back to Chris, who will explain how that will happen. But we want you to pick on the basis of what we set out to do, which is where did you learn the most and what did you think was the most innovative? So, you know, you can decide, but you will pick the winner. So Christina, thanks.
So now we'll launch the poll, and as James said, based on these two criteria, vote for your favorite story. It's live. Okay, 30 people voted so far.
So while we're waiting to find out what the results is, let me explain to you what the prize is, because that was already an interesting thing. The prize, for the winner of this, we've arranged to do some digital promotion. So we've allocated to this, as we said, $1,000 of budget to help with that. But we also have the support of an external company to do this, because we know that it's not just a matter of putting $1,000 into something. You have to know what you're doing and have professional support. So we've enlisted some partners. We're actually based in Germany, a company called Characom. I'm not sure if somebody's online from Characom, but the winner will be introducing them to this company and the budget that we've given them to do promotion. So that's quite a nice prize. But everybody's a winner, because what we'll be doing is we'll be making sure to promote the three finalists that we've got today through Ecom Connect and our other channels, writing up some information on you. And we'll also be offering each of you a copy of a textbook which changes every year called SEO 2021. So every year, search engine optimization changes, the algorithm changes, and that each of you will receive a copy of that. So thank you for taking part in this. But as I mentioned, we had many other good responses. And so we consider this a great success in having helped us exchange information. So Chris.
Yeah, so let's stop the polling. And the final winner is, you'll see there, Shop Nanjala is the winner of this. Congrats.
Just like a TV program.
Trying to.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Well,
Congratulations, Teresa.
Thank you, Adam. You had a lovely presentation too. I love reading, so I know what reading does to kids. Well done, Dorothy. I think you had an amazing presentation too. Like Myanmar, I had never heard of Myanmar in terms of like never met anyone from Myanmar. So I think you've taken a bold step to take, to take furniture and beautiful furniture that into your country. That's a bold step. Get going. I'd love to thank everyone who's come in to participate, especially Team Kenya. Woo! Thank you so much for coming in. I'd love to thank everyone who's here, who's just come and spent an hour and a half, an hour and a quarter, just listening into our presentation. You're an inspiration to me to get going on with my business. I'd also like to particularly thank Ecom Connect, the ITC fraternity, for organizing this. It's such forums that make us sort of, because it's tough. I tell you, e-commerce is not for the faint-hearted. There are 1,000,001 things you need to think about. And in these times where there's difficulties, it's such opportunities that we just say, great, these are people who feel a community that's such a niche. And I think e-commerce will no longer be a niche, just looking at how digital technology is being adopted at an accelerated pace. And we thank you, Ecom Connect, as well as ITC for organizing this. I'd also like to thank Chris Foley. You have a fantastic and inspirational story. Really, you're sort of now my mentor. Thank you so much for just being a part of this. I'd also like to thank, in general, for the opportunity to get the $1,000 for promotion for promoting products on our store. It'll go a long way, and I'll tell you, and it's actually linked to what James actually mentioned. That what would I do more? It would be to market more. And this gives me that opportunity to market more, because it's very expensive to do paid advertising and be consistent, because it's through paid advertising and quality organic advertising that actually creates traction onto our website. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a wonderful day. I'm elated. I really am grateful. Thank you.
Well, I should just say a couple of thank yous as well without making everybody switch off. So thank you to my team for working hard on this. Christina, as always, for promoting this. Judith, for being a source of great ideas. To the other finalists, Edem, Dorothy, great, we'll be in touch with you. You are also winners, and we will make sure that you benefit from the experience. But everybody will benefit from Therese's experience, because when ITC invests in somebody like this to do some promotion, we also intend to share the learnings of that. So we'll be working with our partners to understand how well that money is spent, and hopefully that it has a nice return for you, and we can share those lessons with others. So that's all the purpose of this community. Hopefully this will not be the last time. We have big plans for Ecom Connect next year and the years that follow. So watch this space. Some innovations coming in terms of tools, some innovations coming in terms of data about what's happening. We will be expanding the Africa Marketplace Explorer. We'll be opening that up to new areas. We'll be delivering new tools, new supports, and new projects. So the future is exciting if you're involved in e-commerce. And I wish you all a very happy end of year holidays and break. And mostly that you take a break. Everybody's had a hard year. That you stay safe, you stay well, and you keep working hard when you can. Bye, everyone.
Big clap to everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks all of you. Great stories.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.